What's up, guys? This is Arrow doing a review of Lunatic High vs Miraculous Youngster from the Seoul Cup Super Match Day 2. It was, for me, it was the 14th of October, so pretty excited. Let's get into it. So, I haven't really followed Lunatic High or Miraculous Youngster this season because of everything going on in Contenders, Overwatch League. It was kind of hard to keep track of everyone, but I have followed them in the past. And I've kept tabs on them, but I haven't like really dug down into their stuff this season. So, um, Lunatic High is playing with the new roster. Well, a couple new people, and then Miraculous Youngster. It's interesting to see a Chinese team play against a Korean team currently. Last time that when was the last big time that a Chinese team and Korean team met? I think it was last year, APAC, I think, and China didn't look too great. But China is getting better. I didn't fully watch this whole thing last night, so some of it'll be stuff that I remember. Some of it won't be, which I like being able to analyze on the fly. So yeah, let's let's get into it. So it was started on Lijiang Tower on Garden. So this is obviously a pretty common Pharah Mercy map. Just because there's so much openness. The Pharah and the Mercy can keep a lot of height. I believe this patch was pre-Mercy change. What's going on, man? So you are not going to see any Valkyries. You're going to be looking for the different type of reses. And yeah, so you'll see teams playing around res plays rather than playing around, resing picks or whatever. So they're playing Fair Mercy, Lunatic Hayas. Miraculous Youngsters playing McCree Doomfist. Now, I know that they played McCree Doomfist on a couple points here. And so this is a good talking point about McCree Doomfist because the comp itself was pretty popular in North America pre Doomfist hitbox nerf. I believe Gamers Origin still liked it because they had a really good Doomfist, really good McCree, even post nerf. But the thing about that comp is that they're really good at mid to short range skirmishing. They're not good at long range, so you won't see this comp on a map like Numbani, or even probably even like Eichenwald. But you will see it on like Gardens, on Night Market are both really good maps for this, as well as like a map like King's Row is really good for comps like this because it's enough space to where McCree doesn't have to snipe, and Doomfist obviously works really well in short range. So let's start it up.
So loud. I'm glad that we're sitting a little bit further away from the crowd this time around.
Oh, indeed.
Oh god, I've been in the crowd.
All right, so the way that the Pharahs roll out is always something that's interesting. Sometimes you'll see people conk early and look for damage. Some will save it for a boop off the bridge. So he saved it for boop off the bridge. Obviously, the D.Va ate it. And so this is where, like, the monkeys on this first point, how the monkeys position is huge. So already Lunatic High is already pushed back, which just seeing this, the space that they have already, they're probably going to win this fight because it leaves just enough room for McCree and Doomfist to be able to work. If they don't have, if their effective range is too short, they don't have enough to work, then they're just going to get shut down. As well as Pharah against a comp like this, Pharah's going to want to stay high and just look for a beefy rocket hit so that their Tracer and Winston can finish them off. But against this comp, like they're pushed back, their Winstons already have health, which means their Mercy has to drop to heal him. So, pretty positive that Miraculous is going to win this first fight. Just because of the positioning here. Yeah. So the Mercy has like too much to try to heal. Pharah didn't have any room to work, so this is easy cleanup now. And I remember that Lunatic High actually ends up swapping to Genji Zen, I believe. Yeah. So Genji Zen is an interesting matchup. So I want to talk about this because Genji and Tracer versus McCree Doomfist is a skill matchup. Okay, one doesn't innately have more counterplay than the other. So Doomfist, it's just really hard to hit right clicks. That's like his skill thing. Is that he can one shot a Genji even though he's deflecting, and he can one shot a Tracer without having to charge his punch at all. Whereas McCree, obviously, with the flashbang, can stop their mobility. So that's like the advantage they have. But the big advantage of Tracer Genji is they're so mobile that they can they can often just surround a Doomfist, and he can't do anything because it's too hard to hit him. So it's kind of one of those things where I believe one map ends up going Lunatic High, one ends up going to Merciless Youngster when they're playing these comps against each other because it's a skill matchup. This matchup right here tells me that Lunatic High is extremely confident in 1v1s and 2v2s. So it's like this is an interesting one to watch. Thanks for the follow, Chris Jack. All right, cool. So one thing about Lunatic High is how far back usually Hong plays. Yeah, so Marcus Youngster did really good in forcing that fight to a specific area. Now they have to be careful next time because Ryu Jaehong plays so far back that means Lunatic High is at mercy of his sightlines for the Discord. So like Lunatic High, the way that they win this is they get Marcus Youngster to engage in a spot that Ryu Jaehong has sightlines on. They find the Discord, and they have to kill that target. And there's a super small kill window at which their Tracer Genji have to take out that Discord target. Thanks for the follow. Alright, so they push forward. The portals come out. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back on that one just a little bit because what we want to see is how does Miraculous Youngster get pushed back to their bridge? That's the key. That's what wins them this fight. Is because, like we talked about before, the McCree Doomfist don't have room to work in that area. So right here, he's just playing this in sight lines. And their Tracer Genji get in position, and they immediately dive the Zen, which causes them to back up. So it was like they just got position and dove on the Zen, so they backed up, and then after Miraculous Youngster, gosh, he's yelling. Miraculous Youngster used their mobility to save their Zen, which means that the bomb is an easy, at least 1 or 2 kills. He gets 3, but they didn't have any mobility to get away from it. So that was a good play. I'm curious if that was like Lunatic High set up a play like that because they know, or if that was just like Zephyr, knowing, or like being on top of his game, paying attention to mobility. But like the big issue with this fight from Miraculous Youngster is that they used all their ults. They used beat the fight before, I think, but they don't have any ults going into this. Lunatic High now also has a support ult, a blade, and a pulse. So as far as how they're going to want to use their ults, they don't have anything specifically that they want to save their trance for. Generally you want to beat the Doomfist ult, just because you can often prevent one shots with a beat if you can get it off. But this frees up Ryu Jaehong to be able to use it if he's low, or if he just needs it to support a blade or support a dive. So if Lunatic High has been tracking ults, they likely will go for a blade play here and try to kill the Lucio before he gets the ult. So he just gets right clicked. So there's the blade, but yeah. That's good. They win the fight using only the blade. That's kind of expected. A lot of teams will get baited into using a pulse and a trance there too, but it was really good discipline to only use the blade. Really good. So now they're up against a beat and a Doomfist ult. So
A lot of extra damage in the fight to supplement the Dragon Blade. Who are you? Help clean it up. Very fantastic play here.
right, so they beat basically to get position, and Krieg gets the boop.
So Zephyr not going to be able to get any work done, but who are you? Getting forward. That's the pulse bomb kill, and they get rid of the
So I can appreciate this play because a lot of times if a team beats into somebody, they'll often back off and try to kite it out. But instead they trance and move forward. So here, at this point, the fight's kind of just like devolved into just DMing. And it's just over and over. There's not really a ton of analysis that you can do after the initial beats, after the initial support ults rather. So now it's just DM, and they're just trying to stall. So really, it's just how people use their ults and how people frag. Okay, so they have the trance, whereas Takai has the blade. So they have a beat too. So here's where, like we talked about support ults before. We're just gonna assume that Maracas Youngster is on top of their ult tracking game. So their supports right now are talking about how are they going to deal with this blade? Are they going to trance it or are they going to beat it? Now, 9 times out of 10, a team is going to try to use beat for the blade and save trance so that Zen can save himself, because Zen is so immobile that he's often like a super easy dive target. And yeah, so if Lunatic High wants to win this fight, they're going to need to kill the beat. Like, assuming that Maracas Youngster is just like most teams, where they're saving the beat for the blade and saving the trance for their Zen. And they want to either kill the Lucio before he beats, or get the beat out and then re-engage with their trance bomb. Just kind of depends. Like, but chances are Maracas Youngster is saving their beat for the blade.
This is going to be the fight to end all fights. Fleta will have Transcends to pair with his Dragon Blade. He's holding on to it. Here it comes. Yeah, he's at pretty high health here as well as the Dragon Blade. Just gets the dash onto Creed. Hasn't even pulled out the sword just yet. Thinks he doesn't need it.
So they kill him before the beat, which causes them to trance. And so now he has a free blade. Not that it really matters. But losing their beat, like their Lucio dying there, is what just lost them that fight. Maracas Youngster probably should have won that, just because of support ults.
Fantastic play out of who are you on the Tracer as well. Yeah, but this came down to the Discord orb. The Discord orb that was put onto the and they killed Creed very on next.
Yep. Can't click on stuff. All right, nice.
Transcendence in there to try and stop it, though. Transcendence in there to try and stop it, though.
Lots of people were saying Zephyr. Lots of people were saying Zephyr underperformed. Is that true? I haven't watched through the whole thing yet, so I can't really answer that effectively. I promise I'll answer that once we get through the next couple maps. For that first one, do I think he underperformed? No. But like, you have to consider this, okay? We don't know how long Lunatic High's been playing with Zephyr and Fleta. I believe, or Munchkin too. One of the big tests for a team is how well they play on stage or in a tournament setting in general, just because a player that's under duress, but really it's like under stress, probably it's better with duress. When they're under stress and they're required to perform, everyone's going to act differently. And so obviously Zephyr has experience playing, but he doesn't have experience playing with other people, with this Lunatic High squad together. So I know that it was a reverse sweep, and a lot of that probably has to play to the fact that Lunatic High needed to A, adjust themselves, but B, adjust to Maracas Youngster. From what I remember, the Marcus Youngster, the way that they play reminds me of how Chinese teams play in League of Legends, where it's like their style is just a little bit different, to where if you can't adapt to it, you're going to lose. But if you can adapt to it, generally, blow for blow, Korean teams are going to be a little bit better. And that's kind of what reminded me here. So, but I will answer that question a little bit later into the VOD. Okay, so they're running Soldier Junkrat, which is fine. This is pretty common. We saw a lot of this in Contenders with the Zarya. They're probably expecting Lunatic High to play something similar, which is why they're playing Zarya. Like, if they knew that they're playing Genji, Tracer, Diva, probably they wouldn't play Zarya. They'd probably play Diva. But I mean, they're already on it. They're committing to it. They're probably used to playing it like this. So the first thing that you'll see Junkrats do is they want to control this white area. In case they're facing another Junkrat, you need to take this away from the other Junkrat. In the event that they're playing Dives, Takai obviously wants to avoid this white area. They want to spread out and take point and take multiple angles. So when you see a comp that has Genji, Tracer, Winston, Zen, what you want to do is you want to take as many angles as you possibly can, because it puts so much stress on the Diva. The Diva has to choose to either back up and matrix at one target, or choose to stuff one person and only one person. It puts a lot of stress on the Diva to make that work. But obviously they have a Zarya, so we'll see how it goes here, this first fight. So you'll see Lunar Takai taking position, taking angles, and then they're going to find someone and engage. I would say, yeah, like their Soldier Junkrat are showing here on the backside. Yeah, so like the Ryan came out, like pushed forward without pushing into the point, so they like choked themselves, and they took away their own positioning advantage just by like standing in that choke. They needed to push out, but what Marcus Youngster should have done was push through white and hold white, and then push together into like one direction and take away their support's positioning. Because I don't think that Marcus Youngster is confident in 1v1s against this team, so they need to be able to play to where they always have a number advantage. Yeah, so here's his ults.
As we've got a lot of damage coming out of this Zarya, and Leave gets rid of Fleta immediately. Good remote positioning as Lijiang continues to have a lot of charge here on this.
That was good.
Has to jump his way
they dove, used the beat. The key there is that Lunar Takai used both their trance and their beat in that fight. And Marcus Youngster only had to use their beat, which is really big. And so, like, you look at the ult advantages now. Marcus Youngster has so many ults. They probably will keep this point for at least 2 to 3 more fights. Yeah, their ult economy was very good here. Both of these teams have pretty good ult economy. And so here, also, they win this fight with 1 ult, which is huge. And so now they've built Nano, and they have 4 ults again. So as long as they can win it with, you know, just a bomb, or just a grav, or just attack, if you can. Now, attack you can't really win on your own right now because they have a Diva. But if they can win it with 1 fight, that's huge, or with 1 ult, that's huge. They have bomb trance against 4 ults. Let's see how they take position. Going to be taking their angles, or not, or they're just going to run straight at it. He used the grav too early, so now they're having to commit more ults. Okay, so they actually kind of lucked out that they won that, because he grabbed too early, which means they only got like the Zen one and the Diva, and so the Zen just trans save the Diva because it doesn't get one shot there. Okay, so that was good. So that's good. Like to touch on that, like he only shattered the Genji, and the reason why that's okay is because they're tracking the Genji ult and they know that the big ult that Lunatic High has that will win them a fight is a blade. So they're already at 90%. So there's no reason not to commit an ult to get rid of their big game-changing, game-winning ult. So shit, like solo shattering a Genji in that case is fine. Even in some situations, if you have to solo grab a Genji, to stop him from ulting in the last fight, that's fine too. So now they've got the Genji, they've got Miro, Toby uses beat. So now it's just cleanup. As long as they don't die to Diva Bomb, Pulse Bomb, then they're fine. They didn't even make it back, so. Cool. So overall, talking about this 1 point, Miraculous Youngster, the area that they fought in the first fight was not good. They took white like they wanted to, but then they backed up and then went main. And by that time, Lunatic High already had position on the point. So they literally had a Genji shooting from above, Tracer from the side, and their support shooting from one side. So if they get set up, then it lowers Miraculous Youngster's chances by a lot. So, but they got it on the recontest, and that comp is really hard to push into and to win a fight off of.
Shields can only do so much, but blocking him down there, fantastic, and really good Zarya.
Cool.
Ever. But Miraculous Youngster has figured out if you get an advantage, you hold on these ults, and like you said,
but yeah,
pointed out, they stagger them, only using them one at a time, so they always have.
You know why Miraculous? Didn't they choose IG, Fire, or Ice? I believe like. I think they can actually change the roster. They could have, but Miraculous Youngster didn't really show how good they were until after the World Cup stage, right? So as to why they didn't change and then pick Miraculous Youngster later, I don't know. Well, there you go. Okay, so I'll pause it real quick to talk about comps. Yeah, I agree. That is kind of dumb. It may be because their age, like that's something, or there may just be, some other reason. I don't know. It sucked for the players though. That's a lot of exposure and a lot of free money. Okay, so they're running McCree Doomfist into the Genji Tracer. This is largely going to be the skill matchup that we talked about before on the first map. So same thing on this comp for Lunatic High. It's gonna be the exact same thing. Lijiang's gonna play as safe as he can, and they're gonna play on his sightline. And the Genji, Tracer, Winston are gonna try to take angles. And then the moment that you get a good Discord, they're gonna engage and try to burst down a target. Thanks for the follow. So Miraculous Youngster is really just gonna try to push, and they want to get point control. They should want to get point control first, because it's easier for that comp to hold point than it is outside. So they're gonna push into the garden area. But okay, so Miro pushed early onto their Zen to try and take away that positioning and force him to come back, which it worked. It got him to come back, but he died. So that is either him, like, isn't it cute? That's either him going out of line of sight of Lijiang, Toby not being able to support him, or Zephyr not actually being there to matrix him, which I believe that was actually mostly Zephyr, because he was there in main and not with the team. Thanks for the follow, man. Alright, so now Miraculous Youngster is just going to try to hold this choke. Lunatic High, what they need to do right now is they need to use their Tracer to take Miraculous Youngster's attention away. So this is like so important. Yeah, see, so Tracer's on the point right now, which now they have to consider that, but Miraculous Youngster doesn't care, and he just gets Miro destroyed. Miro just gets obliterated there. And then he does the 360 slam.
Korea, Doomfist has been largely out of the meta recently, so tough to deal with this style from Miraculous Youngster, who are now about to have the big six.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Now they have both teams have support ults, so realistically anything can happen. Lunatic High can win this fight, but they're going to try to kill the support beforehand. That's why they're pushing so hard here. Thanks for the follow. They had to use their trance early. The Deadeye was kind of wasted there. But they're primaling. This, like, even though they're not getting kills right now, like, they've already eaten up, like, 15 to 20% off the clock. So, what that means is that now, whenever Lunatic High re-engages, A, they can't die to the blade, so they're saving their beat for, and B, they need to get a kill or two with the Doomfist ult. So they push out, and now the fight's going to get pulled towards point. Oh, or he's just going to try to blade, but he gets the Doomfist, which is good. They kept him alive. That was huge. That was almost, like, disastrous for Lunatic High. That was almost really bad. Okay, so next, no support ults. It's Doomfist ult and a Pulse Bomb. So you're going to see Fleta, he's going to hide right here and try to stop a fight before it even happens. This Pulse Bomb. And he just gets the D.Va for free. Does he get the mech? No, he doesn't. Okay. Okay. But he missed it, so now... Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Okay, so Miraculous Youngster did good by pulling it to point. And now, as long as their McCree doesn't die, like, they're gonna win this fight. They're doing this match, Miraculous Youngster. Yeah. I watched... Yeah, I kind of watched the first couple maps, and then I was, like, in the middle of doing something else during the last few matches, so I didn't actually see how the last few actually went. But I do know the outcome. I'm told the last few matches were also just as good, but these first ones were really good. So now Lunatic High is forced to play on the point here, which on this point is tough to do in a dive comp, because you have to work the outside. You have to work the outside in order to make it work. The dive comp. Oh, that was good. Good on them. They used the blade pulse beat to take it. And so, what Lunatic High wants to do right now is they want to deal as much damage to Miraculous Youngster before they get to the point. Yeah, and the fact that Zen lived for that long, like, Lunatic High could have won that fight a lot sooner if he just got that first blade swipe, rather than having to take 3 or 4. That's unfortunate. That's like, that right there is like epitome of how Korean Overwatch plays against these guys, because he's just so confident in the 1v1. So confident, like. Alright, so they use their trance, they're coming up on beat. Creed dies. So it's even. It's even. So he had the trance early, which kind of sucks, but Lunatic High is so split. They were so split. Like, they had 2 people on point, and they had 3 out in main. So that they had 1, and Miraculous Youngster had 1 and 4. So it's a 4v3, while their 1 is invincible on point. And so it's easy for him to win, to kill those 2. Yeah, that's really good.
Is just killing it tonight. He's got so much damage done here.
That's not like good job on Miraculous Youngster for seeing like like that they needed a trans on point. That where Lunatic High failed there was leaving that many people on point. Leaving that many people on point to like contest it while they only had like one or two in main. Thanks for the follow. So that was for that last fight. I have to say that's like Lunatic High losing it rather than Marcus Youngster winning it. But it was really good on the McCree. Yeah. Okay, so Numbani. We'll jump into Numbani now. So one of the big things about Numbani here is that it's actually really hard for an offense to take Numbani point one because of the verticality requirements. What you'll often see, I'll use my pen here. What you'll often see, thanks for the follow, is the offense are likely going to do some kind of dive. Now, if they use a soldier or they use a McCree, or they have an Ana, it's going to be really tough to get them set up. I may have to. Thanks for the follow. So, what often happens is you'll see the defensive Ana or Zen soldier playing here. And thanks for the follows. By the way, guys, they're going to play here, and then your offense people are going to jump this here. So it used to be that most teams play their stuff here, but pushing back into this hall isn't that great anymore, just because of the Winston Diva. So what they'll do is the defense will play here, and you have to time when you drop off. So if you drop off too early, then it's easy to just take point control. If you drop off too late, then you're going to die before you hit the ground. So what Marcus Youngster needs to do here, because they're running a soldier on this, is their Diva Winston need to show are probably going to either take top here. Let me clear this. So their Diva Winston need to take either top here or position themselves main, whereas their Tracer will need to do either if they're expecting them to drop off, Tracer's just going to blink through, or if they are expecting them to stay up and try to hold it, then their Tracer needs to set a position here. The Tracer's going to do one of those two things. Now their soldier, the soldier is like the key. So he is going to like wait here, and he's going to come out delayed. So when their tanks show and their Tracer comes out, as soon as they draw attention, that's when soldier's going to come out. And at most, he's going to have to either do a 1v1 or 2v1. Or at worst, he's going to have 1v1 or 2v1. But likely he'll have, if they time it right, he has free position to then shoot on wherever they drop, or if they're holding up here. The dilemma with Numbani is your offensive support. This is why a lot of teams run Fair at Mercy, because if you choose to do your support delayed, then that's so much healing that's just not getting done to your tanks. And so your tanks will likely die, or it'll be super close. If you send them main, then you have to have your Diva be ready to rotate and help them. And it's also on your Lucio to protect her. That's the same thing with Zen. So that's why a lot of teams will end up running Fair Mercy, just because of how the sports have to play. Let me take off the pen. Let's do it. Okay, so they're positioning their soldier down here. What we need to see is on the dive, where is Lunatic High positioning their Ana soldier? Are they positioning them at the entrance of Blue Halls? Are they positioning them on the bridge to drop back? So let's pause it here. Okay, so their Ana's in Blue Halls, their soldier's over here. So they're not giving them a chance to jump on them. To jump on both of them at the same time. Okay, so Tracer's going to go around back. See, this is one of the other one of the options of Tracer wrapping around, so that when someone falls off, Tracer is already in position from the back end of main. Soldier is doing the delayed thing, but he gets spotted because he's sitting in the doorway. That was dumb. He should have waited for their teammates to call it. and so their tanks are on the supports now. That timing was really bad from Marcus Youngster. This is where like they need to be saying, all right, die, reset, whatever, do it again. But the timing was pretty bad. Read some of these comments here. Oh yeah. I don't know too much about the Chinese scene, to be honest, guys. I haven't paid attention the past Premier tournament because it was focused on contenders. So, like overall, I'll kind of rate him after this. After we get to the series, so they're doing the same thing. Soldiers delayed. He's taking a 1v1. Now they're supporting their Ana because they dove him. But Zephyr overextended. He stayed too long. He actually gets out, which is huge. That's a big deal. But they had to dump so many resources into getting Zephyr out that now Miro's stuck. And so, like, there's goods and bads to this, okay? So, Miro and Zephyr trading health off and on is good because no one's dying. The bad news is the way that Miro had to get out on this point, on Numbani first, point control is really easy for Marcus Youngster to take. So they're automatically going to get like at least one, possibly two, even if they don't win this fight. But yeah, like it's just so split. And you think about it, like all of that comes back to Zephyr overextending on that first push. He should have left sooner. Now it's just clean up. Toby committed the beat to that. I don't know why. They had 3 coming back. That's kind of cocky. That's kind of cocky because you're committing your beat into a 4v6, and they lose it, and they lose the beat. So the only thing that they have coming up now is Diva Bomb, and they're facing attack pulse. Oh, let me put it on full screen. Okay, so okay. All right, so it was a good pulse bomb. The tack visor was kind of a thinker. He's not in position to tack. This is like I mentioned it in my other VOD that tack has kind of become like a supportive DPS ult rather than like you win off this tack type thing. Regardless, he popped it in a very bad spot. He probably should have taken position, either pushed forward in the streets down here and looked for one here and then supported by his diva, or pushed up and gone for like a high ground one. But that's fine. This first part of streets is kind of tough to take position on because of how much time Lunatic High has to set up. So now this fight is where you'll see Marcus Youngster taking position. At least they should be. So yeah, Winston's going to be up here. Winston Tracer. Because likely... Oh, see if it gives us a good... Alright, so likely, if Lunatic High sends someone up here, it's going to be their Tracer or their Monkey, which means it probably won't send both. So you automatically will get a damage advantage. If they send him down main, your Monkey gets free damage while keeping his jump. That's like the key. This is why Monkey's positioned like this. Because he can be up here. He can be up here. Anyone that comes through these doors gets zapped. But more importantly, when Lunatic High pushes out here, he can drop down and get free zaps on the back line. Free zaps, free zaps, free zaps. And then he can jump out at good timing. At which point, late needs to be there to help matrix him out. Let's go. It's a good 3 on cart. The other 3 are in positions. They're sending just their tracer top like they expected. And now he's just going to drop, jump back up, and then drop back down again. He has primal. I don't know that that was necessarily an overdive from Miro. Like, he didn't die any, like, out of position, really. I think it's like Marcus Youngster had free position. It was really good on them to stop the Tracer from coming out top. Like that was a big deal. The Tracer didn't get to come out top for free. And so their Marcus Youngster's Soldier was then free because Zephyr had to focus his efforts on Miro rather than the Soldier. So as soon as he runs out of Matrix, Miro just dies because he'll be discorded. So he's trying to pulse the mech while it has Discord so that they can get a free attack. He misses it, but they stay alive. So now that happens, he can tack. And at worst, the reason why this is okay is at worst, he tacks and they have to use a support ult. Has to use a support. Lunatic Eye has to use a support ult to not die to it. Miros, he just seems like any old Winston, not the Winston that makes unique. To be fair, what I will say to that, Onion, is that Miro, people have caught up to Miro now. Like when he first came out as like this big insane what's up, Casey? When he came out as this big insane monkey, it was because people hadn't really explored how good monkey can be. But he was the standard for like how good monkeys are for such a long time that people have caught up to him now. And so in this meta, monkeys are extremely reliant on their diva. And if their diva's paying attention to their supports, he's reliant on their supports. So it's kind of a decision-making thing, which this also is tough for monkeys if you're playing with a new diva. Because you need to know when your diva's not with you. And if they have any, like, if they're lacking any synergy there, then he's just going to die. So this is like, you know, it's easy to say, you know, Miro hasn't impressed me lately. And I get that. And I agree. He's not insane right now. But a lot of it is because of the team that he's working with now. And you see that a lot with European monkeys. So when teams in EU have really lackluster diva play, there's not many good divas in Europe right now. And so a lot of monkeys are really stretched their limits because the divas aren't like at the same level that, you know, the North American divas are. Well, North American and then Korean divas are. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, Marcus Youngster is a Chinese team. They won the big Chinese tournament series. Okay, so this is fine. Like Marcus Youngster gets both support ults, they get the primal, and they get the diva bomb. So now they're just dealing with attack. Technically, they're dealing with pulse too, but I mean, it's you get it so frequently and it's used so frequently that you kind of expect to always be dealing with a pulse. They're running Zarya, so this is actually pretty common for third point Numbani to run to or to swap to like a Rhine Zarya, a lot of front loaded damage rather than spread out damage. So that what that means though is that like the attack is going to get more value than they would against the diva team. That was good. All right, but now they're only going to have trance. They may get their beaten time, but the focus now is just going to be, you know. Okay, well they swapped to Reaper, so they're really going like front load damage. Interesting. So the key here is going to be like the other team doesn't have a shield, so you want to bully out the tanks, but Yeah, they get the trance in time. Now Lunatic High's ults are back up. They're gonna be trying to win this off of a big ult combo or just a big ult in general, whether it's a Grav or a Death Blossom, whatever.
Looks like they're going to stick with the Reaper this time. Thought they might switch again. They do have that Graviton Surge. The question is, will they try to save it? Oh, he missed the health pack.
Yeah, who are you in trouble?
Okay, got it there.
Yeah. So there's the Grav. That's pretty cocky. They did it there, and then Zephyr missed it. But they got the Shatter off of it, which is huge. Nano, he blocked it for no reason. Everyone was already LOS'd.
With the Primal Rage gets rid of all the DPS alongside Fledder, and Lunatic once again stave off Miraculous Youngster. 1 minute now remaining. Remember they had
That was good capitalization. That was a really good play by Lunatic when the Diva bomb's in for them to capitalize on the positioning. Yeah, he did get grabbed fast. A lot of that is because of the comp though. He can just like perma-zap the Diva or perma-zap the Monkey and get ult a lot. Casher said Miraculous likes to change heroes on deaths more than most teams. Why is that? So let me pause it so I can touch on this. So when you change heroes, it's because you want to commit to a style or a specific play. Now, one of the main reasons why a lot of North American teams, from experience, don't like to swap if they have ults or if they have ult charge is because they want to make a big play off ults. It's easy for third point Numbani to get baited into that, where it's, okay, you know, we're saving for this big ult, we want to win off an ult, so I'm going to keep this hero even though its normal skill set isn't, you know, playing to the style that we want. So Miraculous Youngster is pretty obviously going for, we want to bully the tanks, we want to push forward and have a lot of front-loaded damage, rather than spread out and taking damage from a bunch of angles. So if you swap to Reaper, that gives McCree a couple options. It enables him to be able to protect your supports if they need it. But they're playing an Ana rather than a Zen, he probably doesn't need to. Which means that McCree is probably, North American McCrees would usually go for some kind of flank through vending. This means that their McCree will either go like through here and look for a pick on the back line, depending on how cocky he is. If he's not cocky, then he's just going to go with the team. They're going to look for a Deadeye to support him. They only have a Diva Matrix to worry about and a Winston Bubble. So as long as you burn the Matrix and you burn their bubble, you can get a free Deadeye, which either guarantees you a bunch of space on cart or guarantees you a kill or two, which in this scenario works really well for a third point capture. It's probably something that they've been practicing. Thanks for the follow, guys. It's probably something that they've been practicing for a while now, where you, I imagine they do a comp like this probably on like Kings Row third or Hollywood third because of the way that the points are set up, where it's very, you know, structured this way. It has flank routes, but they're not really wild. The big thing is going to be how they're going to use their beat, how they're going to use their Deadeye, and how they're going to use their Death Blossom. So one of those heroes are probably going to flank, but everyone else is going to focus on frontline and protecting their Ryan. Yeah, no problem, man. So they use that. It forces out the Matrix, which now they're using a Deadeye. But they didn't set up the Deadeye well, so he literally got no value out of it, except for they went around the corner, which isn't really that good. But they're able to get the Monkey on the re-engage. So, let's see. So now they have attack. Fledda's probably, yeah, he was trying to flank with that attack. But they got a huge sleep. That was huge. That's like one of the big baits of Numbani third. This corner here, if you want to get like a, quote unquote a safe flank, it's really tough to if the cart's pushed up that far. Otherwise he'd have to push on the corner and is really exposed. That's kind of, he's trying to go for a hero play there, which I don't know is the right call. Thanks for the follow. Alright, so let's get into... I remember seeing that Miraculous Youngster played Sombra here. I didn't really watch it, but I remember seeing that they played it. Which there's a couple teams that do Sombra in North America. Rogue played it, and I believe Envy played it against us fairly frequently. which Sombra is kind of interesting. On first, I think it's played more so to take away the mega from the offense than it is to like build your EMPs. I swear, the best flex supports either making sync especially that's yeah, he did. He had a really good. That was really good sleep to shut down that flank. He's done a pretty good job of keeping up their monkey. How do you think Envious would compare to these two teams? Thanks for the follow. If it were Lunatic High right now, like in this match, if Lunatic High was playing Envy right now, Envy would probably win just because Lunatic High is going to be going through growing pains. Miraculous Youngster. I need to see how they do on the next 3 maps because I didn't really see them to really get a good idea of where they're at. Yeah, I that's another one I'll add to the list that I'll really answer more in depth as far as how Envy would stack up against Miraculous Youngster. But they'd probably beat Lunatic High in this setting. Who's the better Ana at healing chips or Lijiang? Their styles are different. It's hard, like it's hard to compare them 1-to-1 because of how they play. Lijiang plays very far back, and the team plays around his sightlines, whereas Chips plays to keep their carries alive. So in their styles, you know, Chips plays better at that style than Lijiang does. If you stack up their mechanics 1-to-1, Lijiang's probably better. Probably, but I'd like to see how he plays in a style that like Envy does. Okay, so I talked about support positioning on attacking first before. So taking away that mega health pack really hurts the Ana or Zen, depending on who it is. They're going for.
They're going to keep the Sombra. Sombra is going to be designed to shut down Huryu and Fleta diving in the back line and could be used to kill Jaehong if his position is sloppy, which it rarely is. So going to be a tall order here. Fleta's already down though.
Yeah, Mira kept alive for a long time. It's a decent reflect from Huryu, who's going to stop Leave from getting any work done.
I don't know how Leave gets out there. He shouldn't have gotten out. He should have died. They aren't protecting him at all. And so they've already built 75% ult. This is really good. Yeah. Like this only works for one push. This only works when you surprise them once. So they've, they got the surprise. He's gonna start taking megas. Now they're playing for EMP. It's actually similar to how a lot of teams do Gibraltar first. Is you play to stall or you play to win one fight, and then you pull back. You catch him off guard. So now they're going for an EMP play. He's already got that mega, which is huge, which means now Ryu Jaehong doesn't have a mega to play off of, which makes it really tough for him. Here's the EMP. It actually doesn't hit Ryu Jaehong, which they should have lost that fight, like right there. But who are you? Popped his blade too early. And so now they have to back off and look for another fight. Yeah, man, I'm happy to do it. RF Energy are scrimming with their AL teams now. I don't know that many AL teams are scrimming right now. Only yeah. I know a couple are scrimming, but I don't think many are scrimming right now. Other than that, I don't really know. The 1v1s, the Korean, like, Lunatic High is better in 1v1s than Rex Youngster is. That was good. Like, that call right there, they lose too early and everyone's like spread out. What Rex Youngster is saying is, all right, don't die. That's number one. Do not die. No one dies. We're playing to re-engage. Give them 2 ticks. It doesn't matter. We're playing to re-engage. With the time left, if they do win and Lunatic High has 2 ticks, then the next fight would be at least like they'd only have at most a minute. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so they play off EMP, which like they're really not getting value out of their EMPs. He could have played he could have done better EMPs. This is like when it comes to EMPs, it's better to use it than to not use it because of how fast it builds. Even if you only get tanks, even if you don't get supports, but like the ones that I've seen, I'm not super impressed with. But it's creating enough space that Lunatic Aya has to respect it. I get to eat. That was really telegraphed. They killed Creed. Like Creed dies again before getting his beat off. Thanks for the follow, man. I assume they cap it here, unless they get back in time. There's the EMP play. Now that was a good EMP. That was a really good EMP. Lunatic High has to see that coming. They have to see that coming. That's painful. Like, yeah, that was really good. That right there, like, is him, you know, telling me to eat my words, and he gets a giant EMP, and Lunatic High hasn't prepped for it at all. And now there's a bunch of sad fans. Thank you for the follow. And so next is Horizon. Horizon is definitely my least favorite map. My least favorite map of all the maps, including like 2CP and all. Thanks for the follow. Definitely my least favorite map. Like, first point is just so awkward to attack and to defend. It's just really weird. Yeah. It's really cool to have fans that like really cheer for you, you know? Is this my first watch through? Yeah. Like, so I kind of like last night I was doing something. Like I had stuff I had to take care of. I was doing that, and I kind of had this off onto the side, so I like saw bits and pieces. I know what comp Miraculous runs, but I didn't see like how it works all the way through, or how it did all the way through. Thanks for the follow. Which I kind of like doing analysis on the fly, because it helps me get better. To be honest with you.
You know, so if you're over, I think you're just headed towards South America. Maybe like close your roof or something. If you're a little bit scared, maybe go indoors.
The Lunatic High is just playing this Genji Tracer. Like, this is the... Yeah. Horizon is just bad. I really don't like it. Lunatic High is playing Genji Tracer again. Obviously, this is a comfort pick for them. They don't want to go too crazy. They want to play stuff that their people are comfortable on, that they're comfortable doing 1v1s. Have I gotten any offers or can't tell? I've been in talks with Overwatch League, but I haven't signed anything or anything like that. So Lunatic High is playing for comfort picks. They're very 1v1 oriented, and they know that they can beat Miraculous Youngster in the 1v1s. So that's probably why they're playing this so much.
Going to be again that double tank comp actually showing so far the Reaper though.
And this is the attack composition set up though, so yeah. Now that the door's open, we'll see whether they do change things up.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing this.
We saw this a lot in the World Cup.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so just looking at this comp, right? This this comp probably only works on first point Horizon. Maybe it works on like first point Kings Row, but it's not a comp that you can play everywhere. 5 of their heroes, so the supports, Ryan, Zarya, Reaper, are very front-loaded damage. It's kind of like what they played on Numbani third. It's very like we're gonna push into you. The Widow does two things. Thanks for the follow. Widow does two things. If you are playing against the Widow, you automatically have to play different. So A, if you're an immobile person, you have to hide. You have to stay around a corner and you have to watch where those Widow's angles are. And B, if you're not if you are a mobile person rather, so if you're against your Winston like we're seeing here, then you need to be ready to contest them. So what that means is if they're corralled somewhere, around a corner, around an angle, this gives Marcus Youngster a free chance to push directly onto you. But because of the sightlines on this map is the only reason why Widow works so well, because you can't hide on point on this map. Widow has free sightlines on the point, whereas everywhere else, like almost every single other map, the point is going to have, some kind of protection, or the Widow has to get into a really unsafe position in order to be able to hit you. So I can see this working well on first, but I second, probably not. So like already, like they kill the Widow and they already have half the point captured because they just push hard onto the point. And they basically flipped it to where now Lunatic High is basically attacking the point, which is really good for them. Now Widow can come back and have free sightlines without being contested at all. Yeah, so now he's just getting free shots. Doesn't even matter if he like. All right, so this is where this comp gets put to the test. I think what you do here is you give it one try, maybe two depending on ults, and you swap the Widow, go McCree or go Soldier. You can keep the Reaper if you want to play that really aggressive style, but it kind of depends on like how Marcus Youngster is feeling. So same thing we talked about before. Lunatic High is doing a good job of just taking angles. Everyone's in a decent angle. This spot right here is like, it kills me that a support can play here and just get healed back and forth. How would I play it against you if I was against Lunatic High? So that's tough because you don't. At most, you send one person to deal with the Widow. Your Winston can't go. Miro cannot go. Even like look at the Widow like he did in the beginning. Miro has to be like taking angles to give them zaps on the way in, and you can do that on this point. So he needs to be like up top while the Genji is 1v1ing the Widow. Miro takes the top position and is zapping them from the top where he can't just get bursted down. And then Zephyr has to not be letting them on point while their Tracer takes another angle. It's honestly just like how you play basic dive. If there's a comp that's going to beat it well, it's going to be this one, unless you mirror. So what they should have done was Fleta 1v1's the Widow. It has to win it. Miro has to take a good angle to where he doesn't die and gets a lot of AoE spread damage. Thanks for the follow. And the Tracer has put enough pressure on the backline that they have to consider him rather than hard pushing into Zephyr. So it honestly comes back like it's this comp. These comps are like a chess match where like you do one thing, your opponent has another way to counter it. Okay, so then you do another thing to counter that, and then your opponent has to counter that. It honestly is just a back and forth until someone doesn't get a move right. So, where Miro, I couldn't tell who are you, where he was playing on first, but Miro didn't play it that well. His positioning wasn't that good. They put too much emphasis on the Widow, and so they got point for free. How is it possible I'm such a sexy man? I have good genes. Thanks, mama. How are you, man? Good to see you. Okay, so now it's ults. Comes down to ults, but they're like they have to win off this. This is the only time that they can win it. That was good. They almost got trapped in there. They used all their ults. If they don't capture it here. Oh, that's right. He did get headshot early. If they don't capture it here, then they're not going to capture it with this comp. Yeah, they're done. That's the downside of this comp. Like, the reason why that didn't... Okay, so to talk about why that didn't work there, like why they didn't win off of that, is because they took too long going to that side room, which made it to where they had to beat as they exited the room, rather than beating to counter something. So they had to beat on their engage, rather than just being able to use like their Grav Death Blossom or their Beyblade, whatever. And so they didn't have a defensive for the blade, so they can just trance Nano Blade and be just fine. Here, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to like give their Widow a different angle. Here they push. Lunatic High is very spread, it's very good. He loses the 1v1. So now they're 5. Now they're backing up. But they can't back all the way out without taking a fight. This is why, like, at this point, you need to swap off the Widow. Because Lunatic High is doing a good job. They're 1v1ing against the Widow. And they're taking spread angles. Like, this is, like, if they do something like this on first, they'd probably have to, like, go through and talk about it on first. Before they could, like, do it again. He gets the shatter on the Winston, which was big, but that was really good by Lijiang to nano him and spam him. Thanks for the follow, man. And they nano the Rhine. I don't know that nanoing Rhine on this point's a good thing. Probably like wait till your Zarya's high charge and nano, or you just nano the Reaper. And they just use like their round of ults again. Now they're only gonna have a beat. Like this is where they swap to a Tracer. That's fine. That makes sense if the Widow's not working. But Lunatic High just needs to do the exact same thing they've been doing. Take it spread out, and you don't let them get anywhere without taking damage. Anywhere. Like this right here. They're taking spam. If they get into that choke, alright, now you have position in the backline and in the front. You don't need a hard engage. Well, he has primal, so he can. And they have a pulse. So like it's fine to do this only because of those ults. But otherwise it's, you know, you don't let them transition without taking damage. That was not worth it. Imagine if he shatters the Genji rather than shattering a baby D.Va.
They're again buying time. They lost that second tick. They lose who are you, but it is extra kills coming in.
The next fight they're gonna have Trance. What should they have switched to here? Miraculous Youngster? They need something that can control high ground. So like I think that's kind of tough. Like I would either go like triple tank Reaper and like hard push the side, and you just heal as much as you can on the way through and ignore everyone else and just do hard focus calls. Or you swap to a soldier, you do like a soldier tracer, you know, and you get your soldier on high ground and then you push down. Because then like if you have high ground pressure, Lunatic High has to use mobility skills to contest it. If they don't have to use their mobilities to contest and they get to save them, then they get to save them to chase down kills or to get out. McCree works too, but you'd have to set up McCree more than you have to do Soldier. It makes sense what he was trying to do with that Grav. I understand, but they had a Trance to counter it. Reaper ult as well. Like overall, this is like just really well played by Lunatic High. Like this is really good job. There's some flooding who are used shit on soldiers, which like from over it. Yeah. I mean, it depends on your soldier.
Jakirin didn't use his Earth Shatter, but everything else came true. We saw the build up to the Death Blossom, to the Earth Shatter from that
like
Graviton, which was placed
Miraculous Youngster, given how he like his performance on McCree over Soldier in the previous matches, McCree probably makes more sense. But you have to like set him up beforehand. Miraculous just done. They've just done the same push every single time. They haven't even tried the other side. I get. Like this is the definition of like beating your head into a wall. It's literally the same thing every time. Like at a minimum, you could try the other side, and you know, take a different angle where they can't hide behind a wall. But I still think they need to have something to. Yeah, he didn't shatter Baby D this time. He just misses. Well, he gets shatter. I assume it was blocked because 144 tick, or he just missed it. But either way, I think they should have like taken high ground control first, which makes Lunatic High have to decide to commit mobility to contest rather than being able to save it to get out. So that was good. Good by Lunatic High. That was really good by Lunatic High. Way better than they've done the past couple maps. If they're probably playing on the tournament realm, which is 144.
On the Ana, he was able to then get the nano to keep Miro alive, to win the longer fight. The comp for Miraculous Youngster is not built to fight a longer fight because it's extremely immobile. Imagine this Phalanx comp.
Which Lijiang map are you talking about mainstream?
They're just getting run circles around by Fleta, by Who Are You? So when the combo goes off, they have to wipe the team to get the tick. If they can't get all the kills there, Lunatic High has too many tools
the last round
to win the longer fight with the long run back as well from MY. So the
thank you for the follow.
Execution is fantastic, but the defense is better. Lunatic High understanding how to live long enough.
After map 2, it felt like Miraculous didn't play the same. Yeah, probably. I mean, at this point, like Lunatic High has gotten a chance to feel how Miraculous Youngster plays. Now they're confident in taking 1v1s all the time. And they've also like gelled with each other in a tournament setting. So those two things was what they had to overcome because Chinese teams play a little bit differently, and they did it well. So Lunatic High did really good. Miraculous Youngster, like just that right there was them beating their head into a wall. So far, I am the man with the stash. Up to this point, I do think Zephyr has kind of underperformed, but I don't think he was like the reason they lost the first two maps. There was one map where it was like kind of questionable. Alright, so they're going to play their own Widow Tracer. They're just going to play dive with Widow. So, Miraculous Youngster's playing a Ryan comp, which isn't going to be able to contest the Widow at all. So if... Ooh. This is one of the reasons why I don't like Horizon first, is because Widow can be so far back. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's weird that he underperformed. Like, I mentioned it earlier when someone was talking about Miro, like, it's not so much that your off tank and main tank need to be able to frag together, it's that they need to know what the other one's doing. And if you can do that without having to say everything, then that's where the synergy comes. That's why like Mumu and Coolmat work so well together, is they don't have to say what they're doing, know what the other one's probably doing at the time. That was good. They just took their time, waited until they can win it, like corral them and win it. So the fact that Fleta, like I don't think Fleta died at all there. He didn't die, but he didn't get kills. Like his presence was all that was needed. Do they keep it? He's just trying to like see where their support's playing He's trying to get a pick on a support because that's like a common support spot. But their supports are playing up in the top right, which, you know, he gets stuck. But he got the headshot, which is huge. Well, it's not huge. They probably lose this push anyway. I imagine. They commit their beat, so they're in it to win it. They commit their beat. America's Youngster goes tack, and they overpush. Yeah, America's Youngster overpushed there. What you do is you get those picks, you push them out, and you reset. But they didn't reset. Yeah. Like that right there tells me that they're probably flustered after what happened on their offense. They're probably flustered. So this is where like their coach needs to come in and talk to them. They need to have like a full-on mental reset. Like what just happened doesn't matter. Our strategy obviously didn't work. It's okay. Let's focus on our strategies for next because they did work on the other maps. You know. Yeah, it also does help that Fleta came out and fragged, but that's also like what you have to be careful of when you're playing against a Widow. Because if he dies early like that, and you push out and you're not considering him, if you aren't keeping track of him, then it's easy. It's easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that like the fans are also like a big deal. They're a big deal for Lunatic High because like if they do anything right, it feels good to know like everyone's there supporting you. Okay, so let's move on. Dorito. So Dorado first is an interesting one. It's the choke. Yeah, his face. So the choke on Dorado first makes it to where multiple comps can work. Now the favored comp right now is still dive, and the reason why is because strats kind of evolved over time to where you want to be able to take as many fights as you can, even if you lose. If you lose one fight, you want to be able to have at least a second fight. In some places, you can take a third fight. So on Dorado first, you can take 2 fights guaranteed, depending on card position. On Dorado second, you can take 3 fights guaranteed, depending on fight position or card position where you take the fight. So the first one, and this is almost expected now of anyone that plays dive defense often. So Lunatic High has been playing Genji Tracer most of the night. So like Tracer Soldier makes sense. But I played Soldier a couple times. So you have to expect that their tanks are going to be up here. Like you need to expect they're going to be up there. The reason why is it's the same reason that I talked about Winston on Numbani. You can just look down and zap here all the way around because the cart has to go like all the way around this building, right? So he can get free zaps here and then save his jump to escape. What that means is that their supports are going to be playing here, and Soldier has like free reign to go back and forth. Supports, so they're playing Zen in this case, which means Zen is going to stick right around here, which gives him sight lines of the corner for discords, and he can just orb the Winston or the Diva, depending on what's needed. And what happens is they pressure and they rotate their tanks to stall the cart on the corner. So the cart needs to stay here if they decide to do a full fight. So teams are going to do one of two things. Either they're just going to do this little pressure, they're not really going to commit, they're just going to try to get as much ult charge as possible. If they get a pick, great. If not, they're just going to disengage and go back and look for a fight on the fountain. Or if a team's confident in their re-engages, they're going to hard engage and commit a full fight to this corner. As long as the cart isn't, if the cart gets, use red, if the cart gets roughly, based on this angle, roughly here, this is bad. Bad. You don't want the cart here. You need to take a fight before the cart gets here. So teams will do like one of those two things. Either they'll engage on the corner and then their tanks will jump back towards their supports where they can get healed by Lucio and Zen, or they're just going to look for a Discord, try to get a pick, take that fight, or they're just going to build as much ult as possible in GTFO and look for the next. Miraculous Youngster, Tracer, Doomfist.
I can just imagine one guy does it and everyone stares at him for the next 5 minutes till he just walks
So,
out. Shame he watches on Twitch.
if they stay with Doomfist,
Like, oh god, I messed up.
what they're probably going to do is when a tank drops down on that corner, they're going to try to hard blow up that tank. Discord, punch, and the tank's focus him. Or they're going to try to flank with him. But I imagine what they're doing here is he's going to wait until a tank drops, and then they're going to go, yep, okay. Luckily, they obviously they knew that and they got out. So we'll see if they want to take a fight. Nope, they're not. They're pulling all the way back. So they decided cart was too far forward. They're going to take it back and try to hold the choke with it. I don't know. Really good. He was moving in a straight line. I don't know if that was fine though. Thanks for the follow, man. Now the cart's there. I dive here. There's blow up tanks. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly how dive works on this point. Is it's so much about where the tanks are playing and how the tanks are playing. So right now, if a tank dies, then you have free access to push forward just because the way the map is. Miraculous Youngster is playing Doomfist Tracer right now, so you don't expect them to go for a flank over the most teams call it secret. It's the wall back here. You don't expect a flank over there. Maybe the Winston does, but if the Winston's not there, then it's pretty obvious where he's going. Which means, so if they're gonna play like this, what they should be doing, let's see if what Miraculous Youngster should be doing is you put a tank on the card, at least one tank. So I would say put either your Diva or your Winston. You put one here, the other one, one plus your Doomfist goes here. And then you get your Tracer in position up here with your other tank. So what that does is prevents the soldier from working this angle. So what a lot of soldiers will do is they'll go up and they'll shoot down from here, or they'll come to the window and shoot down on either side. So what you do is you clear the high ground. You don't have to hold it. You don't need to hold it. You just have to clear it and make sure it's not an option. Because then that gives you your Tracer free access to go this way and come around this side, whereas you have your tanks and your Doomfist focusing here, and you can just blow up a tank. Thank you for the follow, man. So yeah, so you need to clear the high ground first, get your Tracer in position, and then hard engage on a tank with a Discord. And obviously playing around ults like usual, but that should be your general strategy going forward. So they're gonna beat. They still have trance, but their monkey dies. He's too low already. They're gonna attack. Yep, that was good. That was really good by Fleta to save the tack until after the spoils were gone. Eva wasn't there. That's a free tack. That's a free win. Good job by them. Okay, so let's see. Are they going to take high? Okay, they're taking high ground this time. They're putting their Doomfist Diva up there, which is fine. As long as you clear it, it doesn't really matter. They push it out. We need to see where their Tracer is, though. That's the key. Their Tracer's dead. That's unfortunate that he slides rather than taking the damage. If that soldier dies, then they can continue that fight. If he doesn't die, then you have to reset and wait. So they're gonna go McCree now, which tells me, so this swap tells me that they're flustered and they just need a comfort pick. Because he's just dying on Tracers. He's gonna play something that he doesn't think he's gonna feed on. Black screen. Bug. Nice. Okay. That was a really good block on the flash. Miro does end up dying regardless, but ooh, that's good. That was good. So they should cap this. Now they have Deadeye beat. Lunar Kai has their beat and their attack and their primal. Yeah, it really is just that, like, fights end up like devolving into DM fest if they last that long. And so, like, yeah, I mean, it was a weird dive, yeah. That, like, those situations right there when it like goes into those DM fests, really the team that's been playing a lot longer and that knows each other are probably going to win those. Lunatic High, when Zephyr and Fleta are really comfortable, they'll win those every single time because they, like, in 1v1s, in DMs, they're better, but Maracas Youngster has better teamwork and plays, you know, a lot of interesting comps. So the McCree's going to try to get on the high ground and do a flank. So he's either, like, he has a choice here. He has a choice when doing this. Either he goes for, like, this flanking Deadeye that he's going right now, or he tries to sneak through and get a flash pick on a support, which opens up their Winston Diva to dive. So they kill Fleta. You can't really see how. It looks like they already dove here, which, like, this is kind of a misplay because they're up here focusing these guys, which means the Deadeye is not going to do anything. So either he's going to Deadeye nothing, or he's going to go through and support his Winston. But now he's just trying to, like, tap a Tracer. That, like, that... Like, what are you doing? That was pretty dumb, to be honest with you. And then he just dies. So, like, that just sounds like miscommunication, misplay. That tells me he's probably frazzled after getting rolled on Tracer. Because he was playing Tracer, Leave was playing Doomfist, and he swaps to McCree, and, like, his Deadeye's crazy. Okay, so now they're committing trance. Thanks for the follow, man. Committing trance here, and the attack. This is good. That was really good by late to just stuff that. But who are you going crazy in the backline? That's, like, that's like the power, like what one of the things that tax get used for now. Tack, right, like, pulls attention. That's why now it's kind of become a supportive defensive ult because it pulls the diva away. And in this meta, prior to the diva change, diva was the biggest counter to Tracer, and, like, diva's the biggest reason why supports stay alive. Which is honestly, like, why Coolmat was so highly favored on Diva. It's because he's really good at stuffing Tracers, really good at eating pulse bombs. So, like, this is Who Are You's confident. They use the tack, pull the Diva tension away, and now Who Are You can take for X to the backline. He's not at too much risk because Miro was there for just distraction. So now Marcus Youngster has Primal. Thank you for the follow, man. What he should be trying to do is he needs to A, knock the soldier off high ground, but B, he should be hard committing, probably on Ryu Jaehong, and then look to use a double jump out. So that's what he should be doing with his Primal, and everyone else should be focusing on blowing up the front line. So they actually kill Toby. That's good. All right, so here it looks like he's committing now. Up there on the soldier, Primals gets the soldier, and then he's gonna focus on Ryu Jaehong, who gets him super low, and so he just needs to jump out, and he survives. That's Ryu Jaehong's, like, play style, though. I've mentioned it before. Like, he plays so far back that you have to commit to get to him. So, like, the only way that Ryu Jaehong dies is if he commits his Primal to get there, kill him, and then has to use his Primal plus regular jump on the reset to jump out. So now they have double defensive plus Primal and Bomb of their own. Fleta's playing Doomfist. That's interesting. I think that's probably just because they're looking for early fights. And, like, one of the strengths of Doomfist, kind of talk about this before the fight goes, is that on third points, there's such an advantage for defenders that instant pick heroes, like one-shot heroes, are really good. So if he gets a one-shot, then like it's going to take so long before a player gets back that it's worth it, even if the Doomfist dies. And he kills Creed again with beat. That's like the third or fourth time in the series where Creed dies with beat. Mech's dead. They have attack. Question is, do they commit to it? No, they're already down. If they had the beat, oh hey, well he gets back. So that's like, if he has the beat earlier, he attacks earlier, and this like makes more sense because now they beat to get the cart around the corner rather than, you know, going for a team wipe and getting it further. So it's like the value is fine, but it could have been used better. All of that like happens because like Creed dies early with his beat. If he lives there and then beats right away, they get more on the cart. Like it's not even fully around the corner. So now who are you just looking for? A pulse bomb? They don't have like any ults. They're gonna get their own pulse primal. So where's he at with the primal? He's diving the back line. And now it's just a DM fest. That's the last fight. It's pretty much over once too. Yeah. Damn, dude. Okay. Cool. So now we're swapping sides. I think the Doomfist was a good pick, especially against what they're playing. Doomfist's main counters are McCree and Roadhog, which no one's playing Roadhog here. And no one's playing McCree. Like, they weren't playing McCree. Were they playing McCree? He swapped a soldier. So, that's good. All of that stemmed from Creed dying early with beat. They couldn't use their double defensive attack. So, yeah. So I imagine Lundekai is probably going to play Tracer Genji. I imagine, if I had to guess, Marcus Youngster plays McCree to start. He can. Why do people play Pharah on Dorado? Because it takes away the positioning that they have to take those early fights. If you force them down, okay, so yeah, so they're playing Pharah. So like, kind of what I talked about before on the initial attack. Thanks for the follow. On the initial attack for Marcus Youngster and like how these fights work. So if they're playing a comp like this, which we knew they could, what they want to do is they want to wait until, you know, what they would normally do if they're playing like dive or whatever, they want to wait and take a fight in that zone. So if Pharah gets over the top here, the biggest thing is that she conks. All you have to do is aim your conk here, here, or here, depending on where the defense is set up. And your Rhine, you know, your Roadhog, your Zarya, whoever's up here, or if it's just your supports, it knocks them off this way or knocks them off this way. And the reason why this is good is because if the enemy is playing like the dive style that Lunatic High was playing, if they're on this building, that means that Monkey Diva don't have healing. That also means that Soldier is isolated. Thanks for the follow, man. And if they are playing this comp here, it means that your McCree doesn't have protection, and they don't get the surprise jump. So that's why, and then it transitions well into the second part of first. So it transitions well because then you can take this route over the top here, or you can go around the back and take this flank if you need to. But what most Pharaohs are going to do are they're going to play up here in this area, like where this roof is right here. Like they're going to play like right above this roof up here, because it's enough height to where McCree doesn't get full damage shots, and the only place that they can hide from you is in like a corner where your Winston and your Diva go crazy. So, so yeah, that's pretty much why. I hope that answers your question.
Actually going to add a third tank to this as well with the Roadhog.
The triple tank, Roadhog McCree. It's funny, I literally just said no one's playing Roadhog, and they're playing Roadhog.
They've run it on a lot of escort maps. They've also run it on Volskaya. And we keep highlighting this because
New Roadhog is interesting. I think he's actually really strong. I expect teams to use him more in the next meta. But you don't treat him like the old Roadhog, where it's just looking for like flank one shots. You treat him like he's just disrupting. You have to consider him. He doesn't die. You have to commit a nade or a sleep or a stun to kill him. Alright, so what they should be doing here is the Pharah needs to get a conk. So he pressured them out. Okay, so they didn't even want to risk getting conked down. They're gonna hard hold the choke. But now he's gonna play on this roof here, like we're talking about. And just gonna use it for cover. Yeah, exactly. He demands attention. Thanks for the follow. And so, like, I don't know that I agree with the Widow. I think the Widow and Pharah kind of, like, I guess it works. They kind of conquer the same role, though, of, like, corralling them into an area. But the flanking Roadhog just kills him. But the Pharah is still just up there, and he conked in, got those 2 kills, while the McCree was dead. Like, if the McCree dies, yeah, if the McCree dies, then your Pharah is free to hard engage. But while the McCree's up, you need to play that high angle. So I guess that makes sense. Like, if they kill that McCree, Pharah can just go in and have free, close top down on your face. And now they're going to have Barrage. So it's going to be the same thing. They're going to like set their Pharah up, get their Widow in a position, and look for a pick. They have res. They're probably calling for the res play as well, which what they'll probably do is try to look for a Barrage. Like, let him suicide Barrage, and then res 3 on the Barrage. Going for okay, well, or he just doesn't die with the Barrage, and they don't have to commit the res.
Self-destruct pulls the Reinhardt shield the opposite direction. He comes from behind and gets the Barrage off, pulling a tug-of-war game. Watch this again. Look at this. Shield, wrong direction, bro. See you later.
That was good. I've noticed that Lunatic High, like, the one thing that I'll say Zephyr did really well here in the series is, well, it's not just Zephyr, this is like a team thing, is they capitalize on mispositioning people with the bomb. And then alternatively, when people are mispositioned, getting a good value bomb. But moreover, they're using the bomb to misposition people for a play. Going for the Widow 1v1 now. So Pharah actually isn't very good on second. Because the height of the skybox. You can just, like, sit on the bridge there, and your Diva can get enough damage to where you don't even have to, like, fly at them. America's Youngster's just frazzled now. Like, I don't know why, like, if they're committing to a Widow 1v1 on defense, they probably aren't thinking straight. Love seeing Asian teams. Thanks, Tickety. I appreciate the input there. Okay, so Lunatic High has ult advantage. My leave is feeding. Or leave. That always throws me off. This is just a snowball. Like, Marcus Youngster needs to hard reset. They need to mentally reset right now. Like, take a second, nobody leaves spawn. You take 5 seconds, you talk about what you're doing. You talk about, like, what you need to do and commit to it. Because you just lost the end of first all the way through second on a giant snowball. And you're playing defensive Widow on Dorado third. Not good.
The fan favorites of Overwatch in Lunatic High. And it feels like momentum is given back to Lunatic High now.
Oh, the drive-by picks that one up. That's a double. What is this? It's a Who Are You highlight reel. Good God, and this is so important for him too, you know, because he's not going to be able to play as much in Overwatch League. Younger guys.
Numbani retake.
As they're going to park it, they're going to complete it. We're going to go
Yeah.
for the reverse sweep. Lunatic.
Ooh-wee.
They
Ooh,
always
lad.
seem to be able to do it. It was Kongdu Panthera last time. Now, of course,
Another situation where,
miraculous youngster going to have a taste.
yeah, I will say, like, who already did a good job of capitalizing on their mispositioning. Do you expect mental therapists in Overwatch League like in sports? Yes, I seriously hope so. That they have some kind of sports psychiatrists or sports therapists. I think so. I've talked about this in another video, but in Overwatch, because the fights are so fast, and so like consistent, like you look at the difference between like League, Counter-Strike, and Overwatch, right? League is very a very long, like you have long setups and it takes time to really get your plays to work well. In Counter-Strike, it's like all about timings and like doing 1, 2, 3, you know, getting your picks, clearing your corners, and going in. Whereas like with Overwatch, fights just evolve into these crazy DM fests, and like you need to be able to be like all there and to be able to support your teammates and be a good teammate throughout a highly stressful, you know, medium period amount of time. And I think like when that breaks down and your team doesn't have good coordination with each other, if you don't like each other and you're in a position like that, then teams are going to fall apart. And that's what's happened a lot of teams. Is people just stop liking each other, and you can't trust each other mid fight, which you need to be able to do. So all that is to say, yes, I do expect stuff. What's up, Verbo, my man? Good to see you, dude. Okay, so Marcus Youngster's playing this Hog again. Triple tank McCree. I actually think that triple tank McCree is really good on King's Row. And I think in the new meta with Mercy, I could see this coming in more. Yeah. And then Lunatic High is playing this Pharaoh Widow thing again. Like same thing as Dorado. It's literally the same concept as what they're doing on Dorado. The downside of like Pharaoh and King's Row, the one downside, you have like more cover, but you have a lower skybox. So it just takes like, you need to make sure that you use the cover correctly. That was really good, like capitalizing on the Hog overextending. Yeah. You can tell like their DPS are still going for crazy plays, but like their tanks aren't supporting them enough. Their tanks are playing too passive right now, playing way more passive than they did in the first one, in the first 2 maps. And I'm not counting Hog as a tank. Like, if I had to guess with comms, Marcus Youngster lost their nerve, and now their tanks are scared. Their tanks are playing not to lose rather than playing to win. Like they're playing off of what Lunatic High is doing and not playing their own strategy. Which in this patch right here, your tanks are like the most important thing. And so like Leave and I don't really know how to. I'll call him Yang. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Yang Zhao. Like this flank is so silly. Like they need the support of their tanks right now, and their tanks aren't there. So, like, and now he's like, they're playing Widow into it again. Widow into Widow. That's like their counter. But that was a silly flank. I think he should have seen where they were playing and like left. This is just like a big snowball. This is a feels bad. Marcus Youngster, man. Like, but this is a good example of Lunatic High doing their plays. Like they're setting up their plays and committing to them. And Marcus Youngster is just kind of lost. They're lost. They're playing to counter, but they're not playing to like They're not forcing Lunatic Kai to counter them. They're playing to counter Lunatic Kai, which is like a common trap if you get stuffed early or if something happens. You know, your team loses their nerve. Now they're just playing. Like, he was just hiding from Widow. Alright, the long range grab gets just Toby. They kill Miro. And so this is where, like, they finally stabilized. After 2 maps, they finally stabilized. This is where, like now that they've pushed him into spawn, it's okay, reset, what do we need to do? Zarya needs to get energy, that's the first thing, and they need to make a play off this shatter. So you need to bait out Zephyr's bubble. You can look for a flash shatter. Like there's a couple things you can do, but right now, I don't know if you'd want to go flash shatter because you have to use it to stop Who Are You. But they need to make a play off shatter, and they need to get their Zarya energy. And what I'll say is, like, at least they tried. You know what I mean? And he just accidentally killed Lucio. That feels bad. He just accidentally killed Lucio off that Misty. That's funny. But at least Miraculous Youngster tried. Like that's important. That's like something that your coach can work with. It's like, all right, you know, hey, you know, our tanks pushed up. They made a play. Like it didn't work, but it's better for you to commit to this play and it not work than to not commit to any plays. You know. And that's something that, like, in the long run is good. Okay, so now they have Grab, they have Shatter, they almost have the Doomfist ult. Like, it's funny that they're playing this because I kind of talked about it before, but King's Row 3rd is very front loaded with how your comps need to be. So, like, and one of the biggest counters to one of the biggest counters to McCree Doomfist is McCree Doomfist. So, Grav, do they hit the purple? They do, but he gets the nade. He gets the beat. God, beat off. They both commit nanos. They commit their shatter. Not really for anything. They deadeye. Now Lunatic, like, realistically, it sucks that they had to commit their shatter, but they won the fight. So, better to commit an ult and lose it, and not do much, than to not commit it and lose. So they have to make, like, a play off of their Doomfist. So he's gonna try to look for a grab, and then after the grab expires, if they don't kill him, then get a shatter. Yep, there it is. Grab into Meteor Strike, and that's it. So they're gonna cap with a minute 52 left. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Zephyr, yeah. No, that's exactly it. It's like, in that comp, Zarya is so important, and that's one thing that, like I mentioned before, they needed. Miraculous Youngster needed to get their Zarya more energy and really, like, focus on him carrying. So. It is small land condition ended up coming second because in front of we lost match and dropped a show to try to count. Exactly. That's actually, like, kind of what happened to us when we played against Envy in Contenders playoffs. Is we started out on Oasis, like, really good. We played our comps and we played it to our way, and we ended up kind of a couple players ended up playing really defensively, uncharacteristically, but it happens.
That was absolutely stunning. I want to take back what I said before. I thought with the fact that Miro, not necessarily the most confident Reinhardt player in the world.
Okay.
Let's watch this again, by the way. Under the feet and the Space Jam.
I think, like, Envy's obviously really good. Thanks for the follow. Yeah. It wasn't just us. They are real. Like, their DPS are really good. The way that Effect plays is different from most tracers. The closest person that plays like Effect was Logix, and he didn't play like himself on LAN. But they also did a really good job of like shutting down our tracer. All right, so Lunatic High is feeling really good right now. Why does that happen? Players becoming more passive. Okay, so I'll answer a couple of these questions real quick before this starts. So to start, players becoming more passive. Firstly, it's stage nerves. If you go for something, if you go for a play and it gets shut down, like you take a blow to your self-esteem, and now it's like now you're second guessing whether or not you should be making a play again. So should you be making that play versus maybe I just wait and look for an opportunity becomes the mindset, right? And when you have it's momentum. Like you think about momentum. This is probably like a team that is the most susceptible to momentum that I've ever seen in contenders was Renegades, where when they're playing their game, like they, are one of the better teams in contenders. But when they're not making plays and they like kind of get back into like, I don't want to fuck up. I don't want my team to hate me. If there's added pressure of like, I need to play well to keep my spot, then players are gonna, think twice about making a play rather than playing really cocky, aggressive, and arrogant. Like, yeah, you can counter arrogance in play, but most of the time, if you're arrogant, it's because you feel good and you're making your play, and the other team it has to think about it. If you can have that split second where they have to think about what you're doing and you don't have to think about it, then you have the advantage. How is effects tracer unique? So it kind of plays into cocky tracer play style versus not cocky. So Soon pre-Korea was an extremely cocky tracer. He went always for 1v1s and would try to win tracer 1v1s. And then after the other tracer was either pushed out or dead, he would then go to supports and look for a play. Whereas a lot of tracers in North America right now really focus on, Discord comes out on a tank, you blow up your tank, which enables your tanks to then go forward. Whereas Effect was very good at swapping between those two playstyles. So he would either go in and look for the 1v1 against your tracer, which he did that a lot against Clockwork. He would look for 1v1s, either win them, or Clockwork has to back off. And then he would proceed to look for either the support play, which he was also really confident in going for our Zen. Even if it's taking the attention of our Diva and our Lucio, that's 3 people looking to counter the Tracer, and the other 5 have access to a 5v3 basically. So that's why Effect is so unique. You can swap playstyles on a dime, whereas most Tracers stick to one type of playstyle. So back to this. Lintakai's playing Dive, which is pretty expected. Max Youngster is playing Dive with Widow. So I imagine once Widow comes out more, he's going to start contesting the Widow. It'll be like Fleta and the Widow 1v1ing, and then everyone else doing their things. So Marcus Youngster didn't really set up. They just kind of went in. They need, just like we talked about Lunatic High doing on like Horizon, you need to take angles with you. So Lunatic High got the angles. Marcus Youngster didn't. Thanks for the follow, guys. And Boink not being able to super jump. Yes, that's actually a big deal as well. Boink is like, I'll just in a second. Okay, so Fleta gets the Zen. I don't really know where the Zen died. But okay. The Lijiang dying there is really good for Marcus Youngster. They have to commit ults if they want to win, or they have to. Sorry. One thing that Who Are You does really well is actually stick pulse bombs on people. It's actually really good at landing the actual stick, not just around them. Alright, so he's gonna go primal him, get him out of position, and then re-engage. So they're just trying to stall to get the other people back. because they're gonna have a Diva Bomb and a Blade when everybody gets back. So. All right, so there's Zen. Marcus Youngster's Zen shouldn't have died. He died in like it was like a 3v6. He can't die there, which opens up, no healing means everybody else died. Alright, so now they need to reset. Lunatic High has ults. They have a trance. They need to trance the Blade. Which, if he gets that kill... No, he doesn't. Okay, they killed Fleta. This is like a big opening for Miraculous Youngster now, because Lunatic High's main win condition is gone. Toby committed beat. Probably didn't need to. Like, I'll commend them.
They ended up getting stepped off the point there when they got thrown into disarray. They attempted to kill Leave twice, and because of the good sound barrier the first time and the second time,
I'll commend Lunatic High for like feeling confident enough to commit the beat. But they that's probably a situation where they go, all right, let's look for a solid fight on second. King's Row is also one of the maps where you can get 3 fights. 3 fights before second is over. But you have to like be willing to give up that first fight and contest early on second. So they've already missed the window of getting 3 fights if they were to lose all 3. Now they can max get 2. So
Toby's crazy! Oh, what is happening? Okay, Toby doesn't even die. He just says, all right, get the hell out of that window.
This is good. This is actually really good for Marcus Youngster. They've gained some momentum. They need to work off this.
He's like, all right, you guys can do the whittle. I'll handle this.
And now they need to set up. Like right now, their Winston needs to get their trance. So what you would probably see is he'll set up and he'll hard dive, try to combo, use his ult, and then either knock the Winston far back or knock the Zen far back and re-engage. But they didn't have a defensive, so the Nano Blade's free. That was good. So now they need to get that support ult out. But they committed the bomb. I'm not like... I don't know. You shouldn't commit the bomb to that if you know you don't have defensives for Nano Blade. Probably just save the bomb. Look to get as many ults out as possible. You can test for next. So now... now they just need to get like a good Discord, a good pick, or their Trace needs to win the 1v1. Thanks for the follow, man. That bomb was a little ambitious. And now Zephyr's dead. They beat it before Zephyr got out of his mech, or after he got out of his mech, so Marcus Youngster should win this fight. If he saves the mech, then the Tracer doesn't do much. They got third. This is good. This is good for Marcus Youngster.
They bought a lot of time, though. They bought a lot of time. They were able to bring this down to 158.
But here's the thing. Lunatic High now has a Blade Trance. We've got 2 minutes, and Marcus Youngster has nothing. So they're going to swap to Anna Rhine. They'll probably swap the Widow here in a second to a McCree or Doomfist. I had to guess just based on their playstyle. But they get to pick, so they may be feeling comfortable in Widow. But here comes the Trance Blade. Alright. Reaper, okay. I mean, that makes sense to their playstyle. Reaper Zarya. This kind of seems like what they like to do on these is go Reaper, hard push, then look for a big combo to win. Yeah, the bomb commit. That may have been like they're swapping. They know they're gonna swap. Just commit the bomb. Maybe you get something crazy out of it. Shatter comes out and he gets nothing. Nothing with that shatter, which is really bad. Okay. They were watching the Rhine, so I couldn't see how Who Are You died. But Creed killed him somehow. That's huge. That's probably why they win. And they have ults. And now their Zarya is like max charge because they just fed him a Diva Bomb. He's just going to hard focus the Genji. As long as Genji doesn't get a blade and wins off a nano blade. That's like what they need to do. So he gets the blade, he gets the nano. Oh, but... Okay, notice, this is like really good that they hard focus that Diva mech and get the ult off. This is like a race. That fight is literally a race between who gets their ults and sets them up first. Oh. That's huge. Okay, that was really good. I want to rewatch that whole fight. So like, starting this fight, they kill the Tracer. 44%, 74%, 38%, 41. So this fight like ends up going down to who can get their big ult combos first, which they get their Reaper Death Blossom, then they kill the mech, and then he ults as the moment the mech dies, he ults, which is really good on him. The Nano Blade doesn't get much. If that shatter hits anything, they win probably. Like I mean, he was aiming for a Diva is the thing. Like he's aiming for the Diva. Zephyr feeds anyway, so it's hard to say. But if he hits like 2 or 3, how can EU or NA even compete? I think they're closer than you're giving them credit for. Okay, so to start, he's at 53%. Like he's gonna get. He's right here. He's gonna hard focus tanks on the point. So there's the bomb. Like he doesn't have any energy right now. This like Hail Mary bomb is actually like really bad on Zephyr's part because they're just feeding him energy. What he should have done is save the bomb. He should go in and look for Diva boost to knock off the Reiner Zarya because it's really easy. Really easy to hit the Reiner Zarya in if you know your timings. But now he has like a lot of ult and they beat. They also nano the Rein, and so their Reaper is like untouched. He can just focus the Winston. He just gained 30% ult from Miro. Zephyr now is going to come in and is just buying time. That's all he's doing. So the Reaper gets a bunch of ult. More. All right, so what we need to see is how Lunatic High actually like wins. Here we go. Now he's almost there. Like you look. Here we go. It's a race for DPS ults. I'll answer the Invision question in a second. They're about to have that death blossom, but they don't have it yet. Okay. Zephyr's almost dead. They're probably saying, kill the Diva, kill the Diva, kill the Diva. Now they've got it. Diva dies, and immediately he's dead. Here he goes for the death blossom. He's already using it. They also get the nail blade at the same time. So we need to see how their supports die. So Ryan dies, just to whatever, and then... Did he just get knocked off? I think the Reaper gets knocked off after the Death Blossom kills, and then he kills the Ana. If that Ryan finished off Who Are You, that would have been a win. Yes, exactly, yeah. That's why, like I mentioned before, this is like... Thanks for the follow, by the way. This is a race for DPS ults at this point. Up 3 Premier knocked out, yeah. So he gets knocked off the edge. Fleta kills the Ana. That means, like, they're healing. is just a Lucio. They only have a Lucio Zarya for point control, and this is where like if you're Widow, you have to like Fleta has to die like so soon if you're this Widow. And they just get the grab. But yeah, that comes down to like if like the Zarya and the Rhine both had an opportunity to kill that Genji, neither of them did. And the Genji gets the kill on the Ana, which is crucial. And Ryu Hung lands, like you said, the sleep, and he gets knocked off the edge, which is good. Zephyr throwing that Hail Mary bomb was really bad. He definitely, yeah, or if the Reaper didn't get pushed off, like I said. If Zephyr doesn't throw that Diva bomb and give the Zarya energy, then the Zephyr doesn't die when Reaper has ult. Zephyr either dies before or he stays alive. Hey, really good. Like, that was really good if, you know, who are you staying alive? So overall, in this series, like, Miraculous Youngster came off very strong. It was very clear that Lunatic High needed time to gel on stage as well as figure out Miraculous Youngster. Chinese teams have a different play style because you have to think of it like this. Each region is like in their own bubble. EU has a different style from NA. NA has a different style from Korea. Korea has a different style from China. Everyone has different styles. That's why I love seeing them all play each other, seeing situations like this, because what it comes down to in cross-regional play is that it comes down to what team can adapt faster. And Lunatic High, like, even though they got, they lost 2 heartbreakers, they adapted and they continued to play their game. Where Miraculous Youngster failed is that when Lunatic High was adapting, they seemingly lost their nerve and started playing really passively. We talked about that a bit. And we're playing to counter rather than playing, like, forcing them to counter each other. So yeah, and so that was a really good series. That was really interesting. To answer the question about Envision at APAC, I love the Envision guys. They're really great guys. As far as like how they did in contenders, they did really well to start. They kind of lost steam towards the end. Because I think there's like a lot of reasons for. Do I think they'll do good at APAC? They're playing with a new main tank, if I remember correctly. They're playing with a different main tank, and so they're like on a timer to synergize with this main tank, because like not only they're gonna have to deal with adapting to other playstyles, but they're also gonna have to deal with adapting to this tank, which is like a big deal. So if Chain just synergizes really well, if he does, does really good, and they all keep their nerve, they can do it. But what they have to do is they have to be ready to adapt and be ready to change and be ready to talk about these things, which is going to be like on whoever their team captain is, which I think is Fire. Fire's really good at that. So it's possible that they do well, but they are going to be playing against some of the better Korean teams or the better teams in the world that have experience adapting to other play styles. Envision never really had to adapt in contenders, so that's going to be like pushing them to a different, a way that they haven't been pushed before. So we'll see. If I had to like actually not give a cop-out answer, I don't think they'll do well this time, but if they do get another chance at cross-regional play, they'll do better on the round 2. Do you think that Overwatch League will create its own bubble too? Yes. In terms of, like, if you're talking about Overwatch League in comparison to Apex, in comparison to Contenders, in comparison to Overwatch Premier League, yes. It'll have its own. The big question is, will Overwatch League as a whole be as strong as these other ones? Like it be as strong as Apex is like the big question. Thanks for the follow, guys. And that's tough to say. Like you're gonna have what Cloud9 Kongdu, Lunatic High, Envy. Like those are like the teams that some of the teams that have been setting the pace for Overwatch for a while. So I think it will be the most competitive and will be its own bubble, which can be good and bad. Like I'm trying to get all these questions. Wouldn't you say playing to counter is a strong style in and of itself, though? Or are there specific scenarios to play to counter? So playing to counter is strong. Okay, like I'm not saying it's not strong. The thing is, Overwatch, in terms of strategy, in terms of how teams are addressing, um, comps and strategies coming forward, it's in its infancy. So in the future, when teams know, like, have a lot of scouting information, when they have a lot of experience in different styles, different ways, and what makes things work correctly, it will be a very strong strategy. But for now, you need to have a style that takes people off guard and like where they don't have enough time to react. Because if you give them like enough time to adapt and react, you're gonna lose. So you need to like hit them hard, hit them fast with your play, your strategy, set it up to where like teams don't know what's coming. So in the future, playing to counter will be extremely strong. Right now in its infancy, it's not, as all the new styles get learned. Like each season has had a different style, and so as things start coming back around, as things start circling, yeah, eventually. Um, how bad is it for them that Packing 10 just retired? Um, so Packing is a good friend of mine. I think he is a good coach. Um, but I believe he took an extended break recently. Because he was going to like flight school or something, and they were working without him for a while, and he came back for playoffs. I think it's how it worked. So I don't think it's as bad as it would be for other coaches because they've already had experience playing without him there. So as long as their other guy, I think it's Chu, as long as he can come back, they'll do fine. As long as he like can adapt to being a coach and just analyst, they'll do. What I get out of this Overwatch esports will be nowhere without OGN. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting to see the different styles. Thoughts on the upcoming U.S. versus South Korea World Cup match? I know that the players feel confident in it. Thanks for the follow. The players feel confident in it because if you're gonna beat Korea, you're gonna beat them in the first round before they have a chance to get to know you. If this was a best of three, America's Songster wins before Korea adapts. Right? I don't know what the format is for World Cup, but if someone's gonna beat Korea, it's going to be in their first match. So this is like, if you want, if US is feeling good, wants to prove they're the best team in the world, they need to beat them on the first match. This is their opportunity to do so. Thanks, Funk. I appreciate that, man. So I know they're confident going into it, and they have a great lineup. So we'll see how they do on the new patch. Is APAC on the new patch or the old patch? That'll be interesting. I don't actually know the answer to that. New? Okay. If it's on the new patch, Envision was pretty good at abusing new stuff in contenders early on. They have a patch. Apex, yeah, yeah. So, you know, thoughts on Mercy? How badly do you think she's a nerf? So personally, I don't like Rez as a mechanic at all. I've never been a fan of Rez. I would like to see res taken out. That would be like the ideal. I don't see res getting taken out. That's fine. So what should change is I don't think that you should get a res reset. It should like either like put the cooldown at 10 seconds or remove it from half or do something. I know that they're experimenting with stuff on the PTR. Her self-healing from her passive while Valked is too much, and she has too much momentum. Her being able to have like her Valk is already an offensive and defensive cooldown, which is more than most people have. The difference is she's a lot more a lot more in danger when she's using it. Technically, if you compare her to like Zen, but her self healing is too much. So with some tuning, I think it's fine. But in a perfect world, they take res out altogether. Did FNR GFE ever scrim on the current patch? If so, how was it? No, we did not. We had no reason to. Everyone that we needed to scrim against had access to the old patch. Yeah. Is Mercy a must pick at the pro level? I would say like 7 out of 10 comps would have Mercy in it right now. Maybe even 9 out of 10. So yeah. I've spec'd a couple teams. Like everything's, so for those that don't know, everything right now for most teams is kind of like in transition while everyone figures out like what's going on with Overwatch League, what's going on with contenders. A lot of teams aren't scrimming. A lot of some teams are. I've had an opportunity to get VODs from a couple teams to look at, and I see a lot of even Lucio list comps where you go for like Zen Mercy and look for like a big damage on one target. I've seen a lot of just Lucio Mercy comps and only a handful of like Lucio Ana. Not really any Lucio Zen. Thanks for the follow, guys. I personally think that they shouldn't be doing any large or complete reworks of champions. Hoping they release more variety of champions. I honestly don't see when a hero coming out will change the dynamic. Yes, I completely agree. But Blizzard right now is only releasing a hero. What is it, like once every 3 to 4 months? Which, doing such a large rework to Mercy, like I don't know how much of the feedback they listened to or how much people actually gave about New Mercy, but I don't think Mercy should have been released in her current state. I think Old Mercy, like honestly, it sucked for like all the Mercy mains in ranked queue, but in terms of like professional competitive play, I would much rather see new champions than a reworked Mercy. New supports give, different styles, different ways to like play. Get to a point where you can only have one hero in a match, not one hero per team. Like, I'd love to see that eventually, where, however that there's a whole argument in that and like whether or not that would work, but Blizzard has locked themselves in a coffin for having a backstory for all the heroes. I guarantee that significantly goes down development. Yeah, it does. Definitely does. Definitely does. But like I don't know that that's like their main issue with it. I think the biggest thing is that, like you say, they often have sprays, is that things move very slowly with Blizzard because they want they want each hero to like come out full and complete. And they want everything to be like checked off twice by internal testing. And so the process for creating a hero is really slow. You mentioned the sprays, like all the artwork has to be done. And in doing so, they end up like, they have a bunch of different teams for this. So it's not like, all the resources are dedicated to like art or whatever. They have an artwork team, they have a video team like that specialize in that. So realistically, it doesn't get like slowed because of that. It gets slowed because there's just like so many checks and double checks under whether or not this is going to work. Whether like they're putting too much emphasis on casual play and pro play, trying to make everyone happy. Thanks for all the follow, guys. Really appreciate it. I think it's just the process of Blizzard. All the money that's wasted on their shit that not many people not many pros care about it. But the amount of people in Tier 1, Tier 2 is vastly outweighed by the amount of casual players. Are you going to be reviewing games on stream frequently when Overwatch League comes around? I want to. It depends on what my schedule looks like then, but I want to. I probably will do a review, like a lot of reviewing in the next few weeks. And then as things settle down with contenders and Overwatch League, yeah, as everything kind of like falls into place over the next few weeks, we'll see what my schedule looks like. But I want to. I'd love to keep doing this. I love this. I love answering questions too. So, always feel free to ask questions. Happy to answer. Are you going to stay on coaching the players from our GFE? That's not determined yet. If they were theoretically to be picked up for an L spot, I think that if a full team were to get picked up for an Overwatch League spot, it would make sense to keep their coach with them, depending on how they did. I mean, if a team is getting picked up, like if they were to get picked up for an Overwatch League spot, it's because they were doing well, and it would make sense to keep the coaching staff with them, unless there's like some issues behind the scenes, where the coaches need to change. If it depends on the team dynamic. I think of a lot of the coaches I've worked with, I'm pretty different. So I don't know. It's hard to answer that. I think that the pro tournament scene are intentionally leaving out the new Mercy changes because last night they had Junkertown available, but they had the old change. I think that playing a new map is different than playing Mercy. I know they like Blizzard received a lot of backlash about the new Mercy, but that's probably why is they don't feel that she's perfectly balanced yet. Aren't they planning on expanding enemies in season 2 and so on? Shut up, brother. Or yes, I believe. I think there's going to be more room later on in season 2. So like I hope so. There's enough pros and enough staff, that there can be a lot more teams in Overwatch League. I mean, just look at EU. There's like, and NA, EU, NA, like even Korea. There's so many teams that like you can have a global league and have like a really big one as long as there's enough orgs to buy into it. Did Blizzard talk to anyone in the competitive Discord? I heard that there was one the pros interact in before the Mercy Streams released in PTR. Yes. Well, no. Sorry. Generally, Blizzard will like release PTR stuff, and then pros give feedback on it. Speaking of Junkertown, any thoughts on it? Junkertown is really unique, and I haven't had a chance to actually scrim on it or see scrims on it, so it's hard to say that just from like looking at the map in Spectator and doing my own research on it. The first point needs to be reworked, in my opinion. That needs to be more for the defense. Third point, I like the third point flank is interesting, but it's hard for the defense. So like it's hard for me to give a good answer on that. Optic arrow, I'd like that. I think that it just. I see way too much success running Bastion reach on the payload. I think that's because of the Mercy. Because Apex ran a little bit. Gigantic should go on League. I agree. They're a very good team. We scrimmed them a lot at LAN. Actually, not a lot. I mean, we didn't actually scrim much, but one of our sets was with them. They're very good. It's weird for a casual comp viewer to see Junkertown in the map pool without the changes that came with it. I agree. I believe that a lot of the reasons why Europe is overlooked is because of how advertising is like way easier to do in North America than it is in Europe, and a lot of people want to see hometown players. So That's why there's so many cities in NA. And it's a lot easier to like position a full team in LA and then move it like within the same country. They have some type of tournament client of the game to customize things. Yeah. Basically, it's like just a like it's like the BattleNet launcher, and then you select what patch you want, and then the maps are all there regardless. I don't need any specifics, but does it seem like they're actually listening to the pro Discord suggestions? So, yes and no. So the like one of the big issues with the pro Discord is that a lot of pros don't give feedback in a constructive way. So if you're a pro and you want to give feedback, I'd recommend that you. I was always taught that if you're going to present a problem, you present 3 options to fix it. So what you should do is present the problem, present why it's a problem, and present like other options or like ways for it to be fixed. That's just me though. Obviously, it's Blizzard's job to fix it, but anything that you can do to help Blizzard is very good. Now, with that being said, like Blizzard also needs to listen more to the pros, because I believe that for the longevity of Overwatch to continue to be a good game in 5 years, 10 years, it's going to be on the back of Overwatch League. Because Blizzard's looking to partner with billionaire companies, one of the reasons EU is being overlooked. Yes, their reach for communication is pretty hard in the EU, rather than NA. Yeah. Yeah, like you have to think about like one example is like advertising. If you advertise in North America, you only have to get a contract with Nike. If you advertise in if you advertise in Europe, you have to get Nike Germany, Nike France, Nike Spain. That's like think about all those different contracts and how tough it is to do that. What do you think the best route to become a pro would be, especially without having your name well known in the higher echelon of the game? Is top 500 enough? Back in the day, it used to be through recruitment Discord, defending smaller teams, okay. Asking for best route to pro. Right now, getting top 500 first to start is like very good. Second, you need to get on a team and work well to improve. So like, there's a couple ways. Like, if you like become top 5 on the leaderboard and you can maintain it, there's no way that you don't get looked at. Secondly, like if you're in a team that does well, there's no way you don't get looked at. With all of the pros, like all the current pros leaving contenders for Overwatch League, there's a lot of openings for up and coming players. So just keep at it, do your best to keep grinding, and I like networking is a huge deal for players and staff. So like in comp, be a nice dude and like reach out if you get in a game with pros or something. Be a nice dude and reach out to them. Say, hey, I think you're good. Talk to them. Like, get your name on the map. The only reason CSGO is relevant is really just because of the pro scene. I completely agree. What about Jake? He literally writes academia quality essays and Blizzard doesn't care. It's not about constructive criticism here. Blizzard's vision is pros. I am pretty positive Jake's feedback doesn't just get overlooked. The way he does it is constructive. It's extremely public, but it's constructive. That's also like I mentioned. There's 2 parts. There's pros presenting constructive stuff, but there's also Blizzard listening. So it's a mixture of both. I actually really like that Jake does that. I think it's very cool. Season 1 is pretty much book demo. You have to wait for the next. Yeah. So. I think contenders will have a lot of strong teams, but that pros who don't get into Overwatch League will just quit. That's a tough question. So I seriously hope that pros don't quit. I really hope they don't. There's a lot of good pros that are not going to get into Overwatch League. And I really hope they stay because that's so much talent and so much time that they would be kind of throwing away. The big thing that Contenders needs for it to succeed is it needs for Contenders to be a sustainable lifestyle for people in Contenders. There needs to be, whether it's endemic orgs coming back, whether it's new orgs sprouting, or the prize pool needs to be high enough to where players can play in it and live off of it. Even if it's not as much as Overwatch League or not as glamorous, who cares? If you can live off of that or those earnings, it'll be fine. But if that doesn't come back, you know, people are getting older, and people are going to want to leave. People are not like there's a lot of people not going to college so they can pursue this, or a lot of people not pursuing different careers or whatever, trade schools, whatever it is. They're not pursuing those things so that they can try to pursue Overwatch. And if the tier 2 scene can't support them, they have no reason to stay. I completely agree. I do think Contenders teams can be as good as bottom end Overwatch League teams. There's a couple of rosters out there now in Overwatch League that I've heard of. I don't know how true it is, but concerning. So I hope that good. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, just an example, I don't know what's gonna happen with FaZe. I have no idea, but they're an extremely good team. Or like, even if Rogue didn't like let their players go, those are both like extremely good teams whose orgs didn't get spots. That are just as good as Overwatch League teams. Even look at Apex. There's a lot of teams that are going to be just as good as Overwatch League teams. So, talent's there. Thanks for the follows, guys. I appreciate that. Miles worse than FaZe, Gigante, Busan, Runaway. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. Show match has been the best performing. Maybe, yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why relegation style leagues do well. You get to see just how close those two leagues are. But I really hope what I'd like to see. Thank you guys for the follow. What I would like to see is like third-party tournament organizers. So let's just say, just an example, ESL. ESL throws on a tournament where they grab a few Overwatch League teams, a few Contenders teams, maybe Apex teams, whatever, throw them all in, and you get to see. Yeah, exactly. Like Fnatic versus you guys get paid. Now, I will say, like, in that series, Fnatic was already on a downhill slope. When you guys get paid, we're on an uphill slope, and I believe Fnatic's team was not in a good spot, like player to player. So it was just a matter of time until a team killed him. But that's it. That's a good example of like I'd love to see tier 2 teams and tier 1 teams match up against. I think it's really cool. Main thing that stopped me earlier this year from my early pursuit of pro Overwatch was Roadhog patch and Blizzard's early response to it. Showed an arrogance balance team that I didn't want to have to grind through on a team or on the ladder while practicing. Staying on the ladder, I'd be pissed off having to do connection. Yeah. I mean, I would recommend, like, if that's, that you subscribe to the idea that's going to happen. It's in games like League, or I'll just use League or Dota. There's enough heroes to where one can get wildly changed. There's enough to cover its place. Right now, one of the reasons why I don't like large nerfs or large buffs is because there's not a lot of overlap in like strengths and weaknesses for heroes. So when the hero pool gets bigger, it won't be as impactful. But is Contenders supposed to be NA EU's Apex? Yes, I believe so. It's supposed to be like Overwatch League, then Contenders NA, Contenders EU, Apex, Overwatch Premier Series. You know, all the tier 2 scenes. NA EU tier 2 will need to be rebuilt, even if it does take a while to recover. Yes, it will. Will it be the top open division teams getting in? Will the empty slots or just spots getting sold? I asked the Contenders admins what's going to happen, and they didn't have any details. So who knows? I would like to see, like, if Blizzard is subscribing to the idea that there's a clear path to pro, I would like to see open division, like the best open division teams, either get there first or there be another play in, like there was season 0. Yeah. Well, this is also like the only time it'll realistically happen. There's going to be like a mass exodus. Hopefully, the only time there's going to be a mass exodus of teams from Contenders. So they may just have to like do a whole nother like season 0 for Contenders for this one. Then in the future, it becomes a clear open division Contenders Overwatch League. Heroes you think have underused potential currently? I think in North America, I think Doomfist has a lot of potential, just a really high skill cap. Hard to use him. Roadhog right now, the new Roadhog, I think is actually really good, but it's a completely different style than the old Roadhog. I'd like to see that. Roadhog and Doomfist, I think, have a lot of potential. But it's like their playstyles are so different from what people are used to. It's going to take time for teams to learn that. Large tourney where you can sign up or either make possibly. One of the things I'm most curious about in NA is the animosity between pros. Like they'll complain about ranked but not really engage with each other. In Korea, there are tons of cousin against pros. I know that there are pros that want to pug. No one wants to put it together though. Plus, you have to also consider, like, it's hard to mix EU and NA in pugs because of the ping differences. In Korea, everybody's on the same ping, you know, whereas like in NA, you have, you know, half of your players are going to be on 30 ping, half the players are going to be on 80 ping. And a lot of players just would rather play comp because they have lower ping. Like it's sucky to like put this on ping, but playing on high ping and low ping is like playing a different game. Like playing against Shadowrun when it's in Russia and playing against Shadowrun when it's on LAN is like two completely different players. Yes. Akalissa. I don't know how to pronounce your names. I hope that it's like the A League is Contenders, the B League is Open Division, but I hope that Open Division becomes more competitive, and I hope Contenders stays competitive. So, like, one of the things that'll be kind of interesting is that with everyone going to LA, the West Coast servers are going to be very stacked, which means you may see that more from Overwatch League teams, but it also may mean that players in US East may get kind of screwed. I hope that's not the case, but it's possible. Do you think there's potential for 3DPS to come back to meta with defensive matrix nerf? Yes. I do. I know there's a lot of teams already trying it. So 3 DPS is possible, 3 tank is also possible. But if you have really good DPS players, with Matrix going away, Like, yeah. And plus, you can just res like you can res your hard carry if you have someone that's insane. I'd like to see the tick difference. Um, I'd like to see that come to online servers. I don't know that it's anywhere close though. Like you have to think the issues with high ping or I'm sorry, high tick servers and like Lucio. They just found that Lucio bug on the 144 tick servers. They just found it, and it got banned in the contenders playoffs. You know, like there's already a lot of things that'll interact differently on 144 than on the current servers. So add ping to the mix. I was asking for a shit show for a while. Cool Matt is actually a really good DPS player as well, just so you guys know. He's just been stuck on Diva because Diva's been meta. I don't know if any of you guys were around during beta or like early release of the game. Cool Matt was a McCree player. How engaged do you find pro players in developing team strats versus coaches? I think one of MV's strengths is that they love theory crafting and are very keen to try new things. Read your players approach with ideas a lot. So the FNRGFE guys are all extremely smart guys. They're probably the easiest team that I coached because at one point or another, everybody wanted to try something, and everybody is willing to like work together and make stuff work, come up with strats. One of the things that we did was it was depending on when it was. Either we did meetings every day or every other day, where like we did VOD review and talked about stuff. And it was rare that we ever had to like really press them to look for a new strategy. Everyone was already willing to bring forth new ideas and work on new stuff. So it was really cool to work with those guys. To work with those guys. I have loved and still love working with those guys. They're great. Easiest team to coach by far. Like the way that they came together was because they were friends wanting to play together for contenders, and then it just worked. So like it was easy for a coach to come in. I hate the mercy changes. It broke my rank triple support. Yeah. I remember, gosh, it was a long time back when Symmetra first got released. The new Symmetra got released with the shield. Didn't have before. There was a team that was trying like these quad support comps. It was silly. I got to the stream late to ask, but do you think Miraculous Youngster is actually good, or do you think Lunakai doing reverse sweep was due to strong adaptation, synergy with the new teammates? Does that mean Lunakai has a lot more potential? Already shown for big improvement. Okay, so Miraculous Youngster is good, but they're very momentum based. So if they lose their nerve, they break down. So when they lose their nerve was also when Lunatic was adapted to them. So if they can keep their, I call it their levels, like mental levels, and just keep their attitudes up and their focus up, America's Youngster can be an extremely good team. Lunatic High, it's just the beginning for them. So I covered this with another team recently, asked for it, but basically a team, I'll draw in here. I draw. So I'm gonna draw like a graph here. This is like how a team flows. Okay. When you first start with a team, you're gonna be like pretty high. And then once the honeymoon phase is over, you're gonna drop down. and then you have like your day to day, and then when you have like some kind of external reason to, it'll kick back up. Okay, so this is the danger zone right here. This is honeymoon, like blue is honeymoon phase, red is a danger zone, then we'll use green is your day to day. So right here, when the honeymoon phase is over and they start like dropping, that's going to be like players will get used to each other after a while. Okay, so as they get to know each other more, they're going to be less willing to appease the other player. So in the in the honeymoon phase, the strong personalities are pretty much going to control the team, and then as time goes on, people are going to be more resistant to that, and things will start going downhill. Now, the thing about that is this is where like structure is so important, where teams like learn how to work together and learn how to deal with issues, interpersonal issues, deal with adapting. Like all those things are part of structure that keeps the team together when this first drop happens. I'll label. Here you go. Time level, and the title is Smile. There you go. As long as you keep your structure during your first downfall, the team's going to stay together for this phase, for your day to day. And then as the as you know, a big tournament comes up, or like the boot camp or whatever, it'll go back up. So Lunatic Hide right now is going to be like in their honeymoon phase. The first time they get really stomped, they're gonna drop down. If as long as they hold their structure together and they can work through the issue, like the interpersonal team issues during that time, they'll be just fine, and they'll eventually be higher. I hope that sweet little drawing makes sense. Reddit, could you provide any tips keeping focused mental health high during tournaments? So keeping your mental health high during tournaments. There's a couple things that the team should do together. Right. So firstly, if you've seen the movie Inception, this is gonna be silly. They have like a totem that keeps them grounded to know when something's real or not. So like in that same sense, you need to find yourself an anchor that can help you reset your mental state. So one of the things that like I ground into my guys, and they'll tell you that I literally say this every single time we play, is focusing on what's next. So if something doesn't go wrong, or if something goes great, like immediately afterwards, you think to yourself, what's next? Always, what's next? What's next? What's next? And that way, you detach your emotions from the outcome, and all you're doing is focusing on the present. That's the first thing you need to do, like as a team. Focus on the present. Focus on what's next, and focus on your play. So, you know, as you learn to like detach that and just focus on what's here, what's now, you know, positivity will come out of it. So when things go wrong, like take a deep breath, close your eyes, like mentally reset, focus on what's next, and focus on misplays in review sessions. Yes, because if you ever bring something like negative, or if you complain or try to explain why something didn't work like too much, if you over explain yourself, it's just going to distract rather than help. So save it for review sessions, talk it out. This is like one of the key things about being a coach is you need to be able to deal with conflict resolution between people and be able to keep that structure together so that if something did go wrong, you can figure out why if somebody misplayed, it's the team. If somebody did well, it's the team. Why did we fail? Not why did you fail? You get that kind of mentality where people want to improve, want to get better, want to fix, rather than complain. So I hope that answered your question about staying focused under stress. I like one of the things. So I used to travel with a public speaker for like 3 years, and one of the things before you go on stage, I recommend to have something that you can um, play with, like in your hands, something that gives you like a physical response, like even if you just have like a bottle cap or something, um, just to like keep your hands occupied helps a lot, and just like deep breaths and just focus on what's next. Like, all you can do, and it'll get easier over time. I actually don't like fidget spinners for that because they don't provide like a good response. I don't know, just endless. I don't know. I hate fidget. I actually have like I don't know where it is, but I have like a focus cube that like basically has like a light switch on it and like buttons and stuff that you can press. It's actually pretty funny. But something simple like a like I keep a bottle cap on my desk. What does my future Overwatch look like? I don't know. I regardless of what happens. Um, I said before I haven't signed anything with Overwatch League, but I hope I get an Overwatch League. And if not, I plan to stay in contenders. Yeah, something simple. But one of the things that like he would like the public speaker would do, and that I learned from him was like find a corner where you're private and like um, do deep breath exercises and like basically meditation. Focus on like what you need to do, what's next, and you'll eventually learn to like get into a zone, like a performance zone, where like you're only focused on performing, and everything else doesn't matter. You get used to that. All right, guys. Well, it is 8 o'clock for me, which is I have to go to dip out now. So thanks everyone for watching. I plan to do more. I may do the finals tomorrow or something. I'll do something. I plan to do it at least a few times this week. So thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a great night. Feel free to hit me up with questions offline as well. So thanks everybody. I love you guys. Muy bueno. Yeah, APAC. I can definitely do the APAC ones next week too. So cool. Have a good night, guys.